Howdy everyone, Paradox here, and today we're doing a little bit of a different video. If you guys did not know, on top of playing video games, I'm also a writer and a bit of an amateur game developer myself. And so with that, I wanted to kind of show off a little bit of what I have done in the past, specifically for my capstone this previous semester, and kind of kick this off so that I can talk about things more, talk about my progress, especially as I try out some new things and techniques and art styles, which I'll get into throughout this video. So welcome to my project from this last semester. This is Build Back Better. This is a small serious game that I was working on as, for my capstone, which was in sustainability. So I was not a game dev major or anything like that. We didn't even have a game development program at university. I know they're kind of looking to form one, but as of when I was there, the only game development stuff that there was a student organization. But I kind of still decided to do this because my options were a research project or a practical application, and I liked the idea of practical application much more. I just was getting sick of research projects. I've tried to like research. I really have. It doesn't work very well for me. But everything in this game was created by me. So the pixel art, which I don't know why that guy is always so blurry. But pixel art, which was something that I had to pretty much learn from scratch. So that's why everything is a little not super 3D. I need to definitely work on maybe redoing some of these assets like the houses so that they are a little bit more 3D and stuff like that. I'm really proud of this road though. I like the road. But yeah, so welcome to Decatown. This is kind of the setting for this game, and the premise is that Decatown has been hit by a bunch of natural hazards. So they are dealing with some flooding. Over here, eventually there would be some tornado damage. There's some debris down, like this tree log, so you can't easily use the road to the other part of town. They're just going through it, and they are not very, very well prepared for a disaster. They're kind of always lived off the idea of, when a disaster happens, the emergency managers from the bigger areas will come and help us, which is they're not wrong. They do have an emergency manager that comes to help them from the state, Emmy. But there's a lot of struggling when you don't have a plan. So they are kind of having to figure out this recovery process, getting supplies into the area, finding out what supplies the neighbors have so that they can try to work together, so on and so forth, trying to get this town to recover. The idea behind this game as a serious game is that it's meant to bring public awareness to the role of social capital in disaster recovery, along with the idea of community resilience. So here in the United States, obviously it's been a very big topic about, what is the role of different entities during disasters. And while I will say I do support FEMA, FEMA is also very misconstrued. FEMA is meant to be money and very, very emergency support. And obviously with disasters, they're going to overwhelm whatever the town. That's, in fact, scientifically or academically, I should say, that is the definition of a disaster. So these people are going to need some sort of help, and we shouldn't not give that help. And that help is shown throughout, but it really should be up to the communities to run recovery, because that's how you make recovery more equitable. That's why it's called Build Back Better, because if you all know how ever a disaster goes, disaster happens and everyone goes, we're gonna build back better, da, 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 and it never works out that way. It becomes very inequitable. Some of those inequities I've actually pulled studies from, and we're including them throughout my kind of narrative that I was doing, which was not fully complete. I only got about 45 minutes of gameplay done out of 3 hours that I had planned. But yeah, So we have, one residential area here. Here's the trailer. Don't ask me how the trailer got here. I kind of realized that halfway through. Well, I'll figure that out in post. This area dealt with a lot of flooding. I'll probably create more of like an actual river somewhere, or say that or show that maybe this is a little bit lower than the rest of the town. So they're dealing with some flooding with some more residential area, and this is also where the major road out of town is. So in order to get a lot of the supplies, they need to figure out this flooding situation a little bit. Then you have another residential area. Then this is where like the tornado damage would be if I actually created a tornado. I didn't get to that part. Then we have town hall up here. There would be a bit more of like a commercial district. I just haven't decided what businesses I want yet. And then one final residential district, which is much more of like the quote-unquote wealthier area. And so because of that, they are going to be a lot more kind of isolated and not be as willing to work with like the rest of the town throughout this. And that's going to be one thing that you have to deal with, along with other barriers like misinformation and, neighbors not really knowing each other very well. So not knowing that like they have someone right next door who has something that could help them, so on and so forth. So again, all this pixel art was created by me. A lot of people have mentioned this is a little bit too light, but we're working on it. Then I have, if I go into my project, I have a bunch of different scenes. So I have scenes for like a bunch of the houses. I have the town hall, which, eye strain warning, it's a little bit bright here. So I have, this town hall, which is where our mayor is, our wonderful, wonderful mayor, whose PNG exported the wrong way. I noticed, I figured that out like right at the end, and then I was trying to scramble to redo everything, but I didn't have time. Then we have our trailer, which is where Emmy is. My beloved, our beloved emergency manager. And the mayor is thrown here because you can have, like, the characters interact with each other, which I'll go into a little bit. Then I also have, like, a lot of the houses. This is our house for now. It's very, very well populated. But then I have, like, all the other houses, oh yeah, and different NPCs that you could talk to. Some of them have information, some of them like certain characters more than others, some need certain items to get things to like go correctly. But I will say, even though I did do this pretty much on my own, I did have some help using tutorials. Mr. Taft Creates was like the main tutorial that I used to kind of understand the basics of the programming here in Unity, since I did have programming knowledge before this, but not specifically Unity. Shush. So I have this like player movement file, which most of this is pretty much what I learned from that video. This is pretty much the same. NPC movement is where things got interesting, because the tutorial from Mr. Half Creates is really, really good. Again, I will link that in the description down below. But it didn't go through everything that I needed for this, like, follow state, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Going through dialogue and all that. Which I mainly use this dialogue system for Unity plugin, the Pixel Crushers one. I use that for a lot of, like, these sorts of things. It's really cool. You can have conversations and all these variables. You can do quests and items and locations, which I didn't really use. It's really, really cool. It's like a really big database of everything. It does cost some money. Thankfully, I was able to, there was like a fund for my capstone, so I was able to get this through that fund. But like, I think it's like $70, and it's really good. Like, it's probably very worth it, because all this I didn't have to program, and they have a lot of really good resources. And so that I was able to just go in here and up here have these like Lua variables to then create the different states, which are all up here, the idle and follow, and say like, oh, if it's follow, then they have to follow the player and update their animation. If they're idle, then they stay still, and their collisions are enabled so that they can, when they're following you, then they don't like smack into you constantly. Just for a little bit more kind of flow going on. Yeah, so I will kind of show off a little bit of the game here if I go to the right place. Scenes, starting house. Let's see if my variables are all correct to start. Script assemblies. Yeah, so this is kind of what everything looks like. So I haven't changed the UI yet. That's another thing I need to do. Again, I did this pretty much all in like 3 months, and I had to wait until like nearly the end of February in order to even get the whole like dialogue system thing. So definitely not as much time as I wanted, and it's definitely not as cool as I wanted it to be, but I think it's still pretty cool. So I'm able to like go talk to the TV, and it's like, oh, there's in Decatown, tornado and flooding. I don't know where the journalist is. I should probably get the journalist at some point. Right now, everything is a mess. There's lack of coordination recovery efforts. Emmy has arrived. Patients willing to work with any townsfolk who want to help, and currently in the trailer. That's here. No, and yes, I have it all capitalized because when people were playing it, they were like, "Where do we go?" I'm like, it literally said in the TV. I don't have to follow the road, but I want to. Okay. So this is Emmy. I think Emmy's collisions are a bit weird. But howdy there, I'm Emmy, and I just finished setting up to help out your town here. Got one problem though, I'm only one person. There's only so much I can do. Can you help? Okay, bye then. I had to put a little joke there. Okay. But if I do say yes, see what resources are here. How well do you think you know your neighbors? I know them not well, but that might make things more difficult, but we still have to try. Are you ready for the two of us to travel together? Let's go then. There are some houses to the west beach to check out. This is what I'm calling the buddy system. So this is basically you can team up with different people around town. Right now I'm keeping it to one just for ease of programming, but maybe eventually I'll go into 2 or 3. And they all have certain traits or skills or items that they can use to help you solve the disaster, which will be very, very puzzle focused as time goes on. So we gotta go speak to townspeople because this is just a tutorial, so we're not going like super crazy here. So again, her collisions are broken for some reason. But in theory, I should be able to zoom around it, which you'll see in a moment. So we go to the west. Nope, wrong road. I keep doing that. So we go to this first house, and we're like, hey buddy. Hey, you're the emergency manager here to help us, right? You're doing some real good work here. But you must be the busiest person in the whole state right now. I got my hands pretty full here, but do you need anything quick from me? What damage do you know about? Oh, I heard plenty of reports. There's a flooding of the house down the street, and the road south here is pretty washed out. I haven't heard anything about the east side of town, though. All I know is that there's that awful tree in the way. So this person gave us some information. Yay! Let's go. This guy. Who are you? The emergency manager? I'm not here to give all my trust to someone I don't know, especially not right after what this town has gone through. Why don't you head back to your little trailer and, I don't know, work on some reports. This is a problem. This guy, whoever this person is, does not want to listen to Emmy. This is actually based off of a study that I read that showed that, that was talking about, trust in local government versus, FEMA, which is basically kind of like, the higher up emergency managers, and how their preparedness for disasters work. So some people not responsive. They don't trust these big state emergency managers that they don't know. But let's talk to Emmy for our idea. This isn't good. We need to get your neighbors to help us, but that's not going to work if you don't want me around. Guess that should be expected though. Hey, the mayor lives in the north of town. Why don't we talk to him? For some people, it's more important to hear from local elected officials than some outsider like me. Oops, totally didn't hit the wrong button there. Now we go talk to the mayor, because obviously the people elected him. He obviously is at least partially known throughout town. So we gotta talk to the mayor. Good morning, how can I help you? Some of my citizens aren't listening to Emmy. Outrageous. I guess I'll just speak to myself. But you can only have one buddy at a time, so the other will leave the party. Are you ready for me to join? Yes. And now we have the mayor to walk with us. So again, the mayor's collisions work properly. I don't know what's happening with Emmys. I have to look into that at some point. But that's what the process is all about. Running! I love doing this. It's funny. You were supposed to not be here. Ugh. Programming, am I right? Hey Mayor, really wish we were watching the football game at Davies right now, but this will have to suffice. What you need from me? Current damage, well, other than looking outside, I was able to get in touch with Marcy over in the east side of town. They're not doing great over there with the tornado damage. They got some problems with flooding there too. They're not as bad as over here. Did you know the current way to the west side is blocked? Don't you know how much you can do now? Talk to the mayor for information. Can't get any further, so let's head back to Emmy. Think of the first steps to take with all our minds together. Emmy is totally not standing there. I'm totally having to go all the way back to the trailer right now. I'm like, I haven't touched this basically since I graduated just because I was so busy getting ready for my move. But it's really funny remembering all these glitches and issues that I have to figure out. There's flooding, hail damage, and tornado damage. There totally was hail damage mentioned. Ignore that. Someone from the weather service should be here to survey the area affected by the tornado. And how exactly are they going to get here? The road is unreachable. You're right. It won't be easy to get the flies here either if we don't take steps to deal with this road right now. When we work to fix it, do you have a construction company in town? No. Well, I'll reach out to the contacts with the knowledge of the people in town about making this recovery as smooth as possible. Don't worry, in this town, we're going to build back better than ever before. Just... Hey, would you be able to go to the west side? I remember someone had been working on clearing the flood waters around their home. They may have something that can help. So you have the basic skills, bring your town together after the disaster, but the more situations you face, the less likely one person will be able to tell you the answer. Keep an eye out for every little bit of information, as anyone can be the key to solving the struggles you face. We lost the mayor's gonna do some work, and then we have to go. And the second part is more about items. I'm not gonna go like fully through it. But basically you get items for people over here, and they give you items that work for people over there, and then you're able to at least start partially clearing the floodwaters, at least enough to help start getting some information through, and also a nonprofit that has stopped by that definitely won't cause any problems for the community. But that's only partially. I'm not going to go through the full thing, so you'll have to watch me play Walking Simulator, since it is still kind of like the tutorial. Not quite as hand-holdy, but enough so that it's like, you're not doing super crazy stuff yet. But future plans for this game is to obviously fix some of this beginning stuff, some of the glitches that you all saw today. Sorry. And then from there, work on adding more of the puzzles that I have in the future, so I'm including elements like misinformation, disinformation, that nonprofit that I mentioned, some of the issues that have been seen with nonprofits entering disasters, and what they, how that impacts recovery, the good, the bad, the ugly, and so on and so forth, as this town, works to recover and deal with the many, many people that you have to deal with when it comes to recovery, from that nonprofit to the emergency management to, you know, people that are bringing resources, to really bad donations, to broadcast journalists, to the weather service, etc., etc. One plan is to also add more UI. So obviously update that one thing, but also have like a quest journal and maybe even include a journal so that you can kind of keep track of like who does what in town. So for example, like Emmy would have like her skills on her page, and then you would see the mayors, and then you would see like your different neighbors when I give them all names, and so on and so forth. You know, just some quality of life stuff. This one I'll probably keep as pixel art just because I do like this style. I think it's really cute. But I do plan on actually learning some Unity 3D stuff, learning Blender, for a different game idea that I have, which I'll talk about in a different video. Especially once I get started, maybe do more of like a stream for that, rather than, you know, kind of just really quick sort of video, kind of going through everything. But I just kind of want to show it off because I have always been a creative and I just love being able to do this kind of stuff, and it's something that I definitely want to do more, especially now that I'm graduated. It's not like I'm working, you know, 2 part-time jobs and school and this and that anymore. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions about what it's been like so far, or anything that you might be interested in hearing about in the game in future videos or on streams or something like that, please let me know in the comment section down below. I don't quite have a schedule for how often I'll be posting game dev work yet. Probably depends on how much I get through compared to my other non-game dev projects, because I also write novels and have some ideas for even other things like narrative podcasts. I have way too many things to do. But yeah, so no schedule for that yet, but I do put videos out in general of every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, with potentially more on the way, depending on how my schedule turns out after my move. I am really excited to be able to share this, though. People seem to enjoy it. People thought it was really cool. So hopefully you guys think so too. Again, remember, I am new when it comes to pixel art, so I know it is not like, you know, the super fancy stuff that we saw in, like, for example, like Ritual of Raven, which is a game that I played the other day. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue this journey and to grow more, so if you want to see more of that, definitely consider subscribing, and until next time, have a great day, great time working on your projects if you're also a game dev or other creative. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye!